Happy 4th of July, everyone. Well, temperatures are looking comfortable across Wisconsin today, but unfortunately, that's about where the good news ends. A very good chance of rain and, unfortunately, a chance of severe storms as well. So let's get to your hour-by-hour forecast. 8 a.m. this morning. Now, most are going to be dry. I'm going to leave in a small chance for isolated showers in the far western part of the state. But what I want to stress is if you want to do outdoor stuff, honestly, the morning hours are going to be the best time, especially the early morning hours if you're in the western part of the state, because look what happens when we jump ahead to 11 a.m. Good chance of rain in the western part of the state, and notice not just showers anymore, we're talking about thunderstorms and already the possibility that we could see a couple of severe storms. At 11 a.m., this is when the rain chance begins for the central part of the state. Again, starting out with isolated showers, still good chance it's going to be dry in the eastern part of the state at 11 a.m., but as we get into the afternoon, that's going to be changing. Look at the temperatures, though. Again, if only we get these temperatures without the rain, but I'm not going to be so lucky today. So we are talking about some topping out in the mid-80s, probably most likely in the eastern part of the state. Central part of the state, low 80s, and probably see upper 70s, low 80s in the western part of the state, because we are going to be drying out. It looks like in the afternoon, the western part of the state, we might see temperatures recover a little bit. Going to be breezy regardless of if you see storms or not. We're talking about gusts 20, 25 miles per hour, but there is the potential for gusts stronger than that if you get a severe storm, which there is a chance of in the early afternoon, late afternoon, and even into the evening hours. So we are late afternoon, and notice this is the peak of the activity in the eastern part of the state, but the problem is it looks like the rain chance is going to linger, especially in the eastern part of the state. So let's get to talking about firework time. So here we are at 8 o'clock, and this is some good news for the western part of the state. It is looking quite likely, like for places like Chippewa Falls, La Crosse, that it is going to be dry for fireworks. But for the central and particularly the eastern part of the state, it's going to be a lot more difficult. And what I really want to hone in on is the southeastern part of the state. There's 8 o'clock, there's 9 o'clock, there's 10 o'clock. Look how that chance for storms lingers. Now, as we get into the evening hours, the chance for severe storms is going to be going away, but there's still the potential for heavy rain and lightning. So I'm also concerned about the southeastern part of the state getting multiple rounds of heavy rain, and that means that there's a possibility, Madison, Racine, Kenosha, Lake Geneva, there's a possibility for some flooded roads this evening when we're trying to do fireworks. So looking like the fireworks situation in the southeastern part of the state in particular, not looking too good. Definitely better to the north and west. Notice at 11 o'clock, we're past the peak of the activity, but still some activity trying to linger. It may not be until 2 a.m. that we completely dry out in the southeastern part of the state. Now, for everyone, there is a chance of severe storms. Again, beginning as early as the late morning hours and continuing through the early evening hours, there is the chance, though heavy rain and lightning is most likely, there is the potential for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. There's potential for up to quarter-size hail. The chance is real small, but I can't rule out an EF0 or EF1 tornado spinning up somewhere. And then for the southeastern part of the state, I do have to mention the chance for flooding as well once we get into the evening hours. If we get those multiple rounds of storms, we could be talking about a few flooded roads. And I can't stop there, because unfortunately there's a chance of severe storms tomorrow as well, because we're going to be dealing with a cold front tomorrow. Now 8 a.m. in the morning, just some isolated showers possible, but most are probably going to be dry. Late morning, we may very likely completely dry out. Nothing going on. But once we get into the late afternoon, we may start to see a little bit of activity pop up. Probably not severe storms at this point, but I will mention the chance beginning in the late afternoon for some new activity to fire up. Now look at the difference in temperatures tomorrow, because the cold front will have already arrived for places like Chippewa Falls, only topping out in the low 80s, but then across southern Wisconsin, upper 80s, low to mid 90s, and not much wind tomorrow, very humid. So we're talking about feels like temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. Really feeling the heat, because it's going to take longer for the rain to begin tomorrow. Probably again, after that few showers in the early morning hours, a little bit in the late afternoon, but it's really during the evening hours where it looks like that front's going to be pushing in, and we're really going to see some redevelopment. So beginning around 7, 8 o'clock, the severe threat begins. Notice those shades of red showing up. most likely just heavy rain and lightning, but there's still going to be the potential for severe storms, especially earlier in the evening. Now, it's looking like the peak of the activity may end up being not until midnight. If that happens, then the severe threat will go down. If these storms peak a little bit earlier, though, the severe threat will go up. So I've got to mention, the earlier the storms arrive tomorrow evening, more likely they are to be severe. So for tomorrow, notice northern part of the state not included in the severe threat. We got to leave in an outside chance for places like Winona, La Crosse, Baraboo, Beaver Dam, Portage. The greatest threat, though, is looking like the far southern part of the state: Racine, Kenosha, Madison. Still, heavy rain and lightning most likely, but does look like, once again, we're going to see a couple storms overachieve and possibly produce wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, up to quarter-size hail. And yes, still can't rule out an EF0 or EF1 tornado.